You're listening to The Drew Viari Show. Drive!
What's going on, guys? It is Saturday, not Wednesday. Saturday. Doing a special episode of the show. Decided to move it to Saturday just because Wednesday there wasn't really. I realized on Wednesday there wasn't really too much news going on, so I just decided since I'm already off this weekend, I might as well just do a special Saturday show since we have a lot to talk about. And I have a special guest with me on the show. He's actually making his debut. You might know him from the Wrestling Court, and you can also find him on please correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Alternative Minds.
That's right. Absolutely. Alternative Minds with a Z.
Alternate Minds with a Z. Alternate Minds.
Because I'm old. I've owned that name since 1994 when Z's were a thing. Yeah. So that's just how it is. I was like, dude, that's so 90s. I'm like, I made it in the 90s. Like, what am I supposed to do about it? I own it.
Absolutely. But anyways, Rob from the Wrestling Court. What's up, Rob? Introduce yourself to everybody, Rob.
Hi, what's up, guys? How you doing? Drew, man, it's been a long time since I think we physically talked. I mean, holy crap. You were on our show 106 years ago, I think it was. It was a while ago. And
this was back then before we even did podcasting. We were just like sending
coconuts. It was coconuts. We carved notes in coconuts and just chuck it, hope to God it got to the right person. Morse code, like plastic cups, solo cups with a really long friggin' rope.
We're just in caves. It's like, Rob, what you think about Cody? I think Cody's good.
I like Cody. He's pretty. Anyway, CM Punk. He's definitely shown up this year, guys. 7 years later, give it up. He's never coming back.
He's dead. Okay, he's literally under the ground.
CM Punk stands for mostly dead. I love him. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get what CM Punk is, but Jesus Christ, guys, shut the fuck up. So you can we do the Wrestling Court every week for the most part. We're doing it for 8 years, 8 years already. Right. In Alternative Minds, I've had the website since 2001. I started working in comics back in the day. I had a wrestling promotion. I did a lot of stuff. So I actually have knowledge. A lot of these podcasts that show up and they're like, "Oh, I watched wrestling since did you ever get in the ring?" Yeah, I did. I did. I ran promotion. We sucked. I mean, holy shit that we sucked, but we still did it. We did it for about 3 years, I was like, so I feel like, I've done so much of my life, from working in comics, trying to do films and music and shit, that I got pretty good knowledge on shit, so.
Yeah, you definitely know your shit. And that's one thing I didn't know you just said right now. I didn't know you that you used to work in comics.
Yeah, that was where my love was comics.
Right.
I love wrestling, but I love wrestling to watch. And when I was a kid, that someone was just posting the other day, don't try this at home. How that was the most useless post they ever put. And I'm like, dude, when I was a kid in the 80s, Legion of Doom did what was that move called? What's the Legion of Doom's finisher called? It was the torture, the doomsday device, whatever it was. Basically, it was the torture rack, and they would clothesline you. It's a fucking nasty move, right? I did that when I was in 5th grade with my friends, off of a van on concrete to a kid, and I'm thinking we're lucky we didn't kill that kid. You weren't thinking. Even if we would have had "Don't Try This at Home" when I was a kid, you think we listened to that? You think we listened to Smokey the Bear and McGruff the Crime Dog and the DARE program? I only learned about drugs because of the DARE program. That's what crack looks like. I've never seen it before. Thank you, Mr. Police Officer, for showing it to me. It's
like the episode of South Park where Mr. Mackey passes around the weed to everybody. If someone can bring that back to the phone guy.
It's exactly what it was like. It was that bad. But I also went to Catholic school, so anything we did in school was just we were evil anyway. So yeah, comics.
It's like,
segue.
I like how we went from comics to drugs.
I mean, honestly, if you know a lot of the comic book people like I used to know back in the day,
Right.
comics and drugs went hand in hand. I mean,
All right, fair enough.
That's how it was.
Speaking of hand in hand, like, do you think there's like, okay, because like we're both wrestling guys, we both grew up liking wrestling and comics. Do you think that's kind of like a thing that goes hand in hand? Because I remember Edge talking about his fondness for wrestling and growing up reading comic books, and he said the way you look at it or the way he sees it, you see wrestling as almost like a comic book come to life.
Well, you'll see correlations with a lot. You'll see wrestling goes hand in hand with comics because of superheroes, and honestly, certain toy lines. The Masters of the Universe, to speak the least, the He-Man. There's a huge community of Master Universe fans, diehard wrestling fans, and back in the day, Remco made the NWA figures in the style of the He-Man bodies. So there's a huge subset of He-Man fans that are diehard wrestling fans. As a matter of fact, John Cone, referee, is a huge He-Man fan. So is The Miz, and obviously the New Day are. We had on my He-Man podcast I do with the Master Universe people over at He-Man.org, John Cone comes on regularly, and we talk about wrestling. He'll Miz call in and talk to us about his favorite He-Man figures, and and that's why if you look in the stores, well, if you can find them in Walmart, the Master Universe toys are crossing over with the WWE, and they have He-Man style WWE figures, and it works. And like you said, it's because of comics. It's all the same. That's that over the top, big muscle bound, super heroic type of genre, and it kind of goes hand in hand. You can see Superman having a wrestling match. I mean, he fought Muhammad Ali in a boxing match, so why not have him wrestle?
And Triple H still wouldn't put him over.
Triple H can't put nobody over.
I'm not putting him over. He's not bigger than me. But
oh my god!
But here's one thing I kind of want to run by you, since you've been in the comic business, or you're comic wrestling. But okay, because I ran this by John Draper, because I think this was actually Draper's idea before I thought of it. But why do you think a company like the WWE hasn't decided, instead of hiring these Hollywood writers or what have you, instead of that, why not bring in ex or current graphic novel comic book writers to write the show?
Because Vince doesn't read. It's simple. No disrespect.
Right. Vince
doesn't see comic books as a viable medium. End of story.
Which is
it's
pretty outrageous, because it's like we just said, you see that correlation of wrestling and comic books, because you look at Roman Reigns, he does a Superman punch. It's called the Superman punch. And
it's a pop culture reference, not a comic book.
Yeah, but
that's how they see it as.
You know what I mean. But it's like you see Roman, he basically looks like a Samoan Thor.
You look at Roman, I see Aquaman. Funny story.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's always been kind of the running gag, is that he looks like Jason Momoa. And
yeah, well, they're all very similar because they're all Samoan, right? They're all Samoans, so very similar in style. They have that look, They got look made for wrestling and for action. Like, they have that look naturally. Most Samoans either do wrestling or football. They just are built to be that. They have that look. But to answer your question for real though, is Vince doesn't see himself as a lowly wrestling promotion. He sees himself as competitive to TV shows. Like, if it was up to him, he'd compete against, if it was the 90s, he would say he could compete against, Friends or Seinfeld. That's where his brain stem runs. That's the problem with a lot of these rich, eccentric, older people. They don't read. They have very short attention span. They only know their world, which, this is not something they're making up. We know for a fact that this is how more than 60% of the old white dudes who have all the money act. Not just Vince, a lot of them. And their mindset only could think so far. And if it doesn't apply to them, what's ever on their level. Vince thinks he's running an entertainment business as opposed to a wrestling business.
Go ahead.
And he is technically right because the merch and like the products and everything, but the truth is that the world does not see no studio sees Vince as a viable studio. Like, they don't go to Vince and go, hey, let's make a movie together. Hey, like, if Vince was smart and he had all that money, he should have backed movies that needed a little extra funding just to get his name. And then got your foot into the door that way. For God's sakes, the guy who produced all the 90s superhero movies was a hairdresser for Barbra Streisand. Like, and then he created Wild Wild West, and like he did all the Batman movies.
I remember that story. I remember Kevin Smith told that story.
Yeah. And he got his foot in. Once he had some money, he had some backing, and he got to know people, he went in to help produce movies. Vince had all this money after buying WCW. Take that money, instead of making your own stupid studio, help out a Paramount Pictures. Help out Universal. Hey, this is a film that, we don't know if we get all the backers. Hey, you know what? I'll give you some money. You don't have to give a lot of money. You give enough and you get producer credit. And then, wow, that movie does really good. Holy shit. Hey, then you could, they know, one thing they know how to do is how to milk something. Milk it. Hey, we produced, whatever movie it is, get in on the ground floor. And that's the only time they ever get involved is when like The Rock got roles. Like, oh, The Rock was in Scorpion King. He was in this, The Mummy. He said, yeah, but it's because he's a character. It wasn't because of WWE. It was Rock's personality that shined through. And his ability to adapt as an actor, Don't milk it like they did it the wrong way. They started putting John Cena in like the friggin' Marine and all this WWE studios. Nobody wants those movies. No one asked for those movies. And so they did it backwards.
And that's another thing about, because you mentioned, they're competing with entertainment. And that's another thing. It's just like, how does Vince not see, the current, Marvel movies as entertainment? And before you think ahead, it's, he's competing with entertainment, and he sees a lot of his, people on the roster doing cosplaying. He sees people on NXT. Well, if he watches NXT, doing, cosplay. He'll see, for example, what the fuck is her name? The shiniest wizard girl. Who was the girl that was with Dakota Kai?
Nah, Rachel somebody.
We'll go with Rachel somebody. Rachel somebody. She comes out dressed as Captain Marvel.
Yeah. I mean, she's not the only one. You had, on the main roster, you had 4 people coming out as Captain Marvel. You had Lana one time and Sasha, and they all had Captain Marvel outfits at some point at WrestleMania or Royal Rumble. You had people doing Wonder Woman. And you know what? The costume designer gets it. That's the only person who got it, was the person who helped design the costumes for WWE. Hey, look, can you make me look like Captain Marvel? Freaking Rey Mysterio, every freaking year, for 20-something years, has come out as a superhero. From his WCW days, he came out as the Phantom in WCW at a pay-per-view, one of the main pay-per-views. He dressed up as the Phantom at the time, Every year, he has a superhero-themed costume. He did Black Panther, he did freaking Iron Man, he did Captain America. He's done them all. He's done the Joker. He's done, but Vince doesn't see that. For God's sakes, Raven, ECW guys, Sandman, Raven, Tommy Dreamer, Mikey Ripwreck, all those guys were comic book heads. Raven even wrote some comics. Really? Shit, CM Punk's a comic book head. Matter of fact, when CM Punk got the title and he left the show after John Cena, he took a picture of the title in the refrigerator, and his very next picture, before and after, was him reading a trade collection of Barry Wrightson's Swamp Thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says clobbering time when he comes to the fucking ring. It's all comic books, but not to Vince, because he doesn't know that stuff. The man didn't know a burrito was a burrito. He called it a steak sandwich. How the fuck is he going to know what a comic book is? He doesn't care. And he only knows what they tell him from the outside world. He doesn't care. They had their own comic books. I had the whole Undertaker 12 issues. I had Undertaker's comic, Stone Cold's comic, Mick Foley's comic, Chyna's comic that they did back in the 90s. They even sold those comic books in the WWE New York restaurant place. New York Times Square, New York, WWE Times Square. They sold the fucking comic books in the shop. Freaking Hurricane Helms was a literal superhero. Offered his Green Lantern t-shirt to Stone Cold in one episode. The man didn't know. He doesn't see comic books as viable media. Because he says, hey, I had Freddie Prinze Jr. He's a pretty famous actor. He's done stuff. And he writes for our show because he's a TV personality. We are a TV production company. We've been doing it for 40 plus years. He sees himself in a higher echelon. Dude, he cannot cut his teeth on comics. Half the comic book writers would not want to write wrestling because, unfortunately, especially with comic books nowadays in the last 20 years, the elevation of storytelling is good and you need time. Comics give you 24 pages to tell a story. WWE gives you a 3-minute segment.
Okay, well, as far as you said comic writers wouldn't want to write a wrestling show, I wouldn't really see it as they're trying to write a wrestling show. They're just mainly trying to write, I guess, a dialogue for these characters because, I guess the theme of this show so far has been wrestling is a comic book come to life, but
it should be
it should be. But the way Vince McMahon and other companies, AEW treat it is more like just. Well, I mean, AEW in some aspects will treat it as a sport. In some aspects, WWE.
Well, you're not supposed to treat it as a sport. Let's be real. It's wrestling. Right. Treat it as a sport is only for the in-ring ability, which are talented people, and every promotion has more than a handful of phenomenal talent across the board. There's no program you can find that you don't find a good talent. It's the caring and storytelling around the in-ring work where we're having problems across the board.
Right.
And it's because you have to try to create a show that has a lot of time, story development in the world, no disrespect. In the year 2021, where literally the last 4 years have been dominated by Twitter, Vine, and now, TikTok.
Right.
The world is built on give me something in 5 freaking minutes or I'm not going to watch. You saw that with WandaVision. The first 3 episodes, people are like, what the fuck am I watching? Give it time. Boom. 3rd episode, 4th episode, people are like, oh, now I like it. Give it time. So imagine trying to get a wrestling story to last months. Minutes. Oh, I hate to see these wrestlers wrestle again. What are you talking about? They've been wrestling for 2 weeks. It's called a story arc. Fucking people, So it's not just blaming the TV writers or getting comic book writers in. It's trying to reprogram society to not across the board. WWE's biggest viewership comes from YouTube, from the little segments they show. Bad Bunny is the highest rated segments on YouTube. Also, before that, the Lana, Rusev, and Bobby Lashley storyline was the biggest thing on YouTube for WWE. Remember that. So, why? Because they can digest it when they feel like it and don't have to really watch the whole show. So now you're really fighting against the idea of TikTok and all these apps that give you 5 minutes of pleasure, and I've watched 4 videos already. So how is a wrestling company going to compete? How is anything going to compete? Diehard sports fans that watch football, they don't watch football casually. They have a team. You pick your team, you watch your team. You're dedicated. But if you're someone who doesn't really watch football, you're not watching football, right? If you're not a baseball fan, your team is not the Mets or whatever, you're not watching baseball, right? You're not doing it. And it's just what it is, So how can we, instead of just hiring writers from a different genre, because honestly, no disrespect, I love comics, but the comic book business is in a shambles.
Right.
They're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks in this now day and age, just to get more people to buy books, and it's hard. So they're not in the place to write better stories for WWE. You don't need that. Honestly, in wrestling, you have a guy who's your booker. You talk with the booker. When I had my wrestling promotion, okay, guys, look, your character is this way, your character is this way. We're going to put you in a feud together. Here's what I want from it, okay? Here's what the end result's going to be. I want you to cut a promo, but try to hit these points. That's what wrestling was supposed to be. That's why you got great stuff from Macho Man. You got great stuff from Hogan especially Hogan in the 80s. I hate Hogan. He's a piece of garbage. I never liked him when I was a kid. But you can't deny that when Hogan cut a promo, he had his way. His three-quarter stance towards me and Gene, with his head towards the camera. And he would start it by yelling, well, you know me, Gene. That wasn't just to say he's talking to me, Gene. That was to get you ready to pay attention to what he was going to say next. It was an art form. You know what I'm saying? Like, every good talker had a way to get you invested. There is the subtle ones like Jake the Snake, and then you had guys that just yelled like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It didn't matter what Hacksaw said. You just want him to go, oh, tough guy, and you were all excited. You're like, yay! You're like, I hope he hit somebody with a stick. That was it. You were done. So you need to find that balance. Getting the wrestlers to have more freedom. If WWE gave them more freedom on the mic, you would not be worried about the storytelling. You'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Yeah, exactly. Because wrestling should not have writers. If any, because granted, not everybody can talk on the mic that well.
No.
So, in that case, you should give them bullet points. But for the people who actually can talk, like a Daniel Bryan, or Roman can kind of talk. Sometimes.
Roman has gotten so much better.
Yes,
but we know that he was an asshole. We know he's not a nice guy. For God's sakes, let him been heel, and he would have been champion 4 years ago if he would have been heel. 100%. They try to force the John Cena moment. Like, no, we're not cutting it. No, he's gonna be a good guy. No, you can't force this. No matter what you do, we're gonna make him a good guy. It's like Roman's face doesn't resemble a guy who you respect.
Yeah. And I was about to segue that because I've always said about Roman, it's almost like if they tried to make Wolverine Captain America, that wouldn't work.
But you know what? But one of the best comic books you ever read is Wolverine with Captain America. So if you take two elements that are different, you take two different elements, you bring them together, sour cream and onion, and you have great chips. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You got to take the two things, the opposites also work together, but you can't make Cap into Wolverine, and you can't make Wolverine into Cap.
Yeah, because John Cena works better in that role of like, I'm John Cena. I'm the superhero. I'm here to help you. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, John Cena has been built. First, he started off as a bad guy. He started off as kind of a tweeny, good guy, douchebag, musclehead. Then he got into his bad guy stuff. When he did the rap, he technically was a goofy bad guy.
Right.
But then he just got over naturally because it was so funny to see that he slowly became the good guy. Hogan, same way. Hogan was a bad guy, and then when they brought him in and he beat Iron Sheik, he got the biggest heel to give him the rub to be the biggest hero. You don't have that. You need an element of, the idea is, hey, Brock versus Roman. Brock is the heel. Roman's going to come in and he's going to win. The fans booed everybody. That's not a good moment. That's why Seth Rollins coming in to cash in. They had that third option. Daniel Bryan has always been your underdog. Regardless if he was a bad guy, you still wanted to root for him because no matter what, he was personally like, it's like Piper. See, it's a Piper element. Piper can make you hate him. 5 seconds later, you want to cheer him even though he's the bad guy. And it's the hell he's doing his job, but he's doing his job right. As long as he's elevating the other person in the ring. And that's all you need. I mean, we've seen wrestlers in the middle of a match change the perspective. Hogan versus The Rock. Just watch that match. You want to talk about perfectly story arc that changed they called it audible. Like, Rock was the face. Hogan was supposed to be a bad guy. He was the NWO Hogan. The fans just turned and they made it happen in the ring. But The Rock still run the match and people were still okay because they knew how to play to the crowd.
Right.
These wrestlers that come from the WWE trainers, the guys that were homegrown. They're, hey, we got you when you're young, we're going to mold you. Don't have that option. They don't know how to call an audible because they've only been in that one system. That's why you look at AJ Styles, one of the best in the business, right? Dude's been everywhere. Kevin Owens, best in the business, They have now more talent than they've ever had before in one place. Why are we worried about story?
Well,
it drives me crazy.
It's kind of a double-edged sword when you look at it because Yeah, you're right, because we're in the era of guys that are just very, insanely talented, that can go out there and just have a match they can have a 5-star match with a broomstick. AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens.
Absolutely. Sami Zayn, Cesaro. You're listing off names that we've seen in the indies, and we know that they are who they say they are. So why are we just now?
Well, it's kind of
why did they hold them back? Why was Vince holding them back? Why are we begging for Edge's return? Which I don't mind. Edge is still pretty young, and he's a talent. He's an asset. Okay, but why did you need to have Sheamus? By the way, Sheamus is doing the best work he's ever done. Man's wrestling like as if he's going to die. But at the end of the day, AJ, all these guys, why was it not working? Why did Vince and the writers look what Bobby Lashley did to him at the beginning? Why did it take to now? Come on. These guys cut their teeth. Bobby Lashley was the first belt collector.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Legit. And he came back and they said, here's my sister's gimmick. I love my sisters. Why did they do that? Why? Punishment? Stupidity? Arrogance?
Well, going back to Cena, and it always seems to go back to Cena somehow, because when they book, their next big, top guy, their next big superhero guy, they look at it as like, well, let's see what they do, because if it worked for Cena, it's going to work for them. It's like, no, because Cena is Cena. It's going to work better coming out of Cena. When Cena's out there saying, I stand for true justice in the American way, it sounds better coming from him. It still sounds cheesy, but it sounds better because Cena can do serious, but he can do cheese. Roman,
yeah, well, he's got that face,
right? Roman cannot do cheese. Drew McIntyre, another perfect example, a guy that I still root for him, but I'm kind of off the boat because it's failed for him miserably, and we can make the argument that COVID played a role, and it did, but they have given him that cheese and bad cheese. Like, let me give you an example. The night after Drew loses the title to Randy. Okay. So, you've been in the business for a while. So, all right, say in storyline you just lost the title. And you come out the next night. What's going to... okay, pretend I'm the interviewer. So, Rob, you just lost the title. How are you feeling? What are you going to do?
You want me to cut a promo right now?
just cut a promo on the fly.
I just lost the title to who did I lose it to? Randy Orton?
Let's just say it was Randy Orton.
All right. Where am I going to go from here? I don't know. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring the day after. I just lost my title. I need to find myself. You're sitting here across from me. I'm going to ask you the same question. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? Where would you think my head was when my shoulders were pinned 1, 2, 3? Here I am the next day. I got to pick my head up. But really, I want to hurt somebody because, deep down inside, I'm angry. I want to hurt the better man who beat me. But we'll let the bosses decide at the end. You cut a promo that you put yourself in the middle. You keep that balance because then whatever he does next, no one would see coming.
Do you want
wrestlers?
Go ahead.
Wrestlers are being forced to stick to a way. Right. And I would never want to say ECW was better, but you'd see wrestlers who stayed their character but found ways to teeter when it was necessary. Steve Austin. He'll cut a promo. He was going to kick ass, whatever, drink a beer, and at the end of the day, goddamn, I'm going to do what I want to do. But Steve Stone Cold, up until a point, wasn't that. It took a long time for him to get there. Yeah. And you see these guys, and I get it. I want to see. You need to have something for your wrestler. Always. Not just go back into the same feud again. When the title changes hands, normally that's supposed to end a program. If you want it to continue, that's when the elements of whatever. With Daniel Bryan, when he kept challenging for the title and they kept fucking him over, the fans did give up. They lost a lot of viewership between that September to when he won it at WrestleMania. The viewership dropped because the fans were sick and tired of seeing the character get bullied for 6 months. And he kept getting a match, and they would fuck him over. The fans eventually gave up on it. You know? They gave up. And they did it, and the heels, which was the Authority, never got their comeuppance. The bad guy in this story arc, imagine reading a comic book. Fuck. Captain America. Each issue is fighting Red Skull. Red Skull beats him. Each issue, fucking Red Skull beats him for 56 issues. And you could be like, what the fuck's going to happen to Cap? The Cap wins one. Like, oh, yeah, he won a match. You know, he beat him. The fuck happened to the 56 other times? He should have beat him. He's the hero. Right. He's who we're rooting for. To put comic book connection. You know, you need to not lose that fans. You lost that 2014, they lost their fans big time. Yeah, CM Punk. But they lost their fans, gave up on all the possibilities, all the prospects. And ever since then, their viewership went down. It's just idiots like us that continue to watch.
I mean,
you know,
dumbass, because we have that small little inkling of, well, maybe it might get better. You know, maybe.
And we keep saying to ourselves, and we fantasy book, and we fantasy book, and we fantasy book. There's no fantasy because we're not booking it. We're not getting hired for it, and we never will. Someone had sent me a job description for the writer because, you know, like you said, I worked in comics. I did wrestling. I wrote books. I wrote comics. I wrote film scripts. I've done a lot of stuff. So I got all the criteria. But the fucking criteria is like 6 years of TV work. What was it for the writer? You needed 6 years of television credits on credible programming. 5 years in film, whatever, and proving that you've worked on budgets of film. Like, dude, the WWE, like, no one gives a shit. Like, no one's and the job is still available. It was offered. It was sent to me to LinkedIn last year, before the pandemic, and it's still there now. Because nobody will work like that. Because of what they're asking for. And then you have to be not just a writer. I didn't know this. I was reading all the descriptions for the job. You have to handle your wrestlers' social medias. You have to assist in whatever, be on every meeting, make sure you take every phone call, be ready 24/7 for Vince decides to call you and yell at you to add something at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's abuse. That's not how it's supposed to work. You know, no one wants that. Now, I have a friend that worked for WWE, worked at the offices, moved to Stamford, Connecticut to be there for WWE. He worked there for a few years. And when they let everybody go, he lost 40 wrestlers or whatever, was 60 employees in total. And then October, they just never hired anybody back and said, oh, you're done. Dude, they gave bonuses to all their stockholders in August. They grossed more money than they ever did last year, and they couldn't hire back the people they let go. It's really hard for me to sit here going, fundamentally, as a storyteller, WWE doesn't really want you. He does not. He wants to be TV, but he's not TV. When you made the WWE Network, it was the greatest wrestling app that could ever exist. But at the end of the day, it's a wrestling app. It's not Netflix. You're not Disney Plus. You're not Twitch. You're not YouTube. His brain thinks he competes against these people. There's no way to change that. It's driving me crazy.
Let's segue into a much more, I guess, uplifting topic away from Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah, it's never gonna happen.
I like how when we get to wrestling, it somehow just fluctuates from, you know, yay boo, into just like, wow,
sad.
This is fucking depressing.
Imagine if you worked for the company.
It's like shit. I need to put on like fucking Serbian film to like level this up. I'm not that twisted. But yeah. So let's talk about the Snyder Cut. So
okay.
Anyone who's not too familiar with the situation, Snyder Cut. So basically, when Zack Snyder was making the movie for Justice League, he'd already directed, you know, Man of Steel, BVS, and you know, even before. I think
he helped write Wonder Woman. He had a hand in with the first Wonder Woman.
Right.
So yeah.
I believe it was even before BVS came out that Kevin Smith had announced, he's going to take on both Justice Leagues. He's going to film them back to back, A, B, C, and D. Back in early 2017, he had a family tragedy. His daughter, unfortunately, took her own life, and he decided to. Was the movie already about to be finished right when he left?
They said it was 96% completed. It was just basically pickups and special effects. They were done.
Right.
They had filmed a lot of shit.
All right. So yeah, Jesus, I didn't even know that. So Warner Brothers decided to bring in Joss Whedon of Avengers fame. He directed Avengers 1 and 2, and we kind of know what happened after that. The movie was what it was, and it was either before or after that movie came out that the whole Snyder Cut thing happened, and then it started to get some legs or grow some legs. And you see billboards in Hollywood saying "Release the Snyder Cut." Even the stars were saying "Release the Snyder Cut." And eventually,
because the director that replaced got a lot of backlash for being a very horrible person to work with.
I was about to get
yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
But so HBO announced that, and then, like Rob just mentioned, Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg in the movie, had put on Twitter, talking about the Snyder Cut, and then he also mentioned Joss Whedon was unprofessional, he was abusive, in all kinds of ways, and that's another story. That's another story in itself. We're here to talk about the Snyder Cut,
the film itself.
There. But the Snyder Cut released on HBO Max on Thursday at 2 in the morning Central Time, and 4 hours, which didn't even feel like 4 hours, to be honest. And
I have to disagree.
I have a feeling me and Rob are going to disagree a lot on this.
Oh, we're going to disagree a lot on this movie. No disrespect, but holy shit!
I welcome that. I want us to argue about this. But Snyder Cut was 4 hours. Like I mentioned, it personally to me didn't feel like 4 hours. But I think, it was better than the Joss Whedon one. I think what made it better was that it connected those dots that Joss Whedon, for whatever reason, decided to unconnect. If that's the best way to put it. Because, for example, the way the Justice League movie began, for Joss Whedon, was Batman just holding a random guy, which was actually the guy from Mindhunter. I don't know if you watch Mindhunter.
Yeah, I've seen Mindhunter. Actually, my father brought this up. Like, I forgot. I, for some reason, thought that scene was in the movie, but I think I watched a YouTube video about, like, the differences before I watched the movie. So my brain's like, yeah, that was in the movie. My dad's like, no, they took that scene out. I'm like, you sure? It's like, I didn't remember.
But there's the scene where he's holding that guy over that ledge, and he's like, "What are you doing?" They sense fear. And then
they sense fear. They smell it.
They smell it. So the way the Snyder Cut began was how BVS ended, which was Superman dying, but he's dying and he's screaming, and it lets out this supersonic wave that's awakening these mother boxes, which I thought that was clever because. That's another thing they talk about with the mother boxes is that they've been around, for a very long time, and they've been closed for a very long time, and it took a supersonic wave of pretty much a god to open them up, and it wasn't just like, well, these mother boxes are open. Well, why? Because they just are. Like they didn't really.
They just had to happen just because they had to do a thing. We had to get the movie. We had to get the movie going. That's why.
Exactly. And also, another good example is, I was going to call her Wanda, Diana, Wonder Woman, explaining the history of the mother boxes. Because in the last movie, she just comes out and says, "Well, this happened," and it's just like, well, how the fuck do you know? You weren't even there. So, but in this one, she sees the, I guess, the painting of the drawings inside that cave or what do you want to call it. And it's just explaining the history, and she sees Darkseid, which I thought was kind of interesting because I made the point of like Wonder Woman's fought God, she's fought Ares, she
that guy from the first Wonder Woman movie, you can call it Ares, I call it Mustache Boy. It's like it's not that is not an Ares, but yes, he is technically Ares.
Fair enough. So she fought Mustache Boy Ares and Doomsday, who was a Ninja Turtle, if we're being honest.
Doomsday was just so bad. Can we agree that like that was rushed?
Oh,
so
yes.
fucking rushed.
Yes. But I guess the point I was trying to make is that she fought those guys and she wasn't even breaking a sweat. She sees Darkseid, and she's like, "Oh fuck!" Like almost like she knew who he was. So I thought that was interesting. I like the character work. I definitely like how they took the time to explain these characters instead of just saying, "Okay, they're all here, we're all in."
Yeah, that's a problem.
Like they explain Flash's story, which I'm still not sold on Ezra Miller's Flash. I prefer Grant. That's just my personal opinion.
He did fine. I think he got to be the fun character, because if you need to have in a superhero movie, no matter what, if everything's too dark, then it's a bit much. So having Flash's character be a little more fun, a little more quirky. I mean, obviously nothing like what the comic was like, but it worked. He was kind of like their Spider-Man. They needed someone who's super smart, but at the same time still silly and young. And I'm okay with the character, and I don't mind how he played it. So it's like,
right.
I don't hate it.
All right, that makes sense. But you get to Aquaman. They made Mira British for some reason. Okay, let me ask you something. Why is it whenever they do these like movies like these and there's like a kingdom, why is everybody automatically British?
And why is always in American movies, if there's a terrorist, they're always British? British people are just either royalty or very bad people. It just goes without saying. And I have several friends that are British, and they're the sweetest fucking people you ever want to meet. Right. They're nice, and it could just be their accent, but they're really sweet. Even when they curse, it makes you giggle. Whatever. But I think the idea is just that like they don't like when you have Star Wars and you have all these characters speaking all these different foreign languages. What does Atlantean sound like? What is their language? Why are they speaking English? Why aren't they speaking, I don't know, sonar whale, or why aren't they speaking something else? So to make it seem different, you go with the British accent, especially for an American movie. And honestly, if you watch your European movies, they do the same thing. They always use American style voice to be the different for their films. It's just what they expect. It's what's expected, I think.
All right. So and then they brought back Willem Dafoe, which cool, because I love Willem Dafoe. You can't go wrong with adding Willem Dafoe in a movie.
Does Willem Dafoe not look like the guy who wants like 25 cents to wash your windows in this movie? Like, he looks like he should be on the side of the road with a sign going, "I promise I won't kill you for money." Like, that is William Dafoe's face. But he will kill you. That's why you don't roll down the window. Like, you just keep the doors locked, keep the windows rolled, and wait for the light to change, because William Dafoe might kill you for a nickel.
Oh my god! Now I can't stop thinking about that. But let's see. Batman was doing Batman things, so that's the best way you can
absolutely.
That.
Can we all agree though? Batman, no disrespect, other than having like the ship and his stupid plan, was pretty fucking useless. Like, holy shit! When you got to the end of the movie, I never thought about it, but like all the guys are fighting like the bad guy, and he's just like, "Oh shit, did they kill him?" He jumps out like, "All right, guys, you got superpowers. Go, I got money. Go do a thing."
Well,
it just felt like, man, Batman.
What else could he do?
What the fuck? But this is fucking Batman. The idea is Batman should have donned the fucking Batman armored suit. Dude, this guy's they need Superman to fight this dude. You made a suit that could fight Superman. Go solder that shit back together, put it the fuck on, and get in there, bro. Because, like Captain America in Infinity Wars, Thanos tried to punch that motherfucker. I know Captain America is superhuman. I get it. My favorite character. I know he's got super soldier serum. But I don't see Batman ever backing down. Like, he would try to maybe use a special Teflon covered batarang rope that he'd try to hold. Try to do something, Like, he didn't, he just stood on the balcony going, "We're good? Guys, guys, where's the Flash? He's not running faster. Guys, you gotta do this. All right. I'm going to stay up here."
And that pains me because if anyone knows me, they know I love Batman. I'm a Batman freak. And I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm probably alone on that. I've always been I've always sung his praises. I'm a Ben Affleck,
I
supporter.
don't hate Ben Affleck's a phenomenal actor. Everyone shits on me. I didn't hate him as Daredevil. I think people hated Daredevil, but the people who hated Daredevil have to realize they probably weren't going to like the comics that came, because that movie with Ben Affleck was several issues of Frank Miller all into one movie, and that was great for the fan that likes that comic. But don't ask for reality. Why is a blind dude with no superhuman strength jumping 15 stories and landing on his feet? Dude, it's a comic book. Shut the fuck up. It happened. It's cool. It happened in the comics. We didn't ask fucking questions. You let it go. He's once you put spandex on, it's cool. Obviously he has to do the thing. It's so that's why I would give a little more leeway if Batman did a little bit more, just because even though he's not superpowered and he's older, Frank Miller's Batman would not have backed down from shit. He would have found ways to make things work against Steppenwolf. It wouldn't have just been, I'm building this ship that I can't get to fly. Quick, robot boy, talk to it. No, there's fundamentally things that aren't the superheroes in this movie. That's the problem.
Well, let's talk about Steppenwolf for a bit. So, they really not only improved the look, they improved the character because...
yes.
Do you watch a YouTuber named Jeremy Jones?
Probably heard of him. I don't think so.
So he reviews movies, video games, blah blah. He was reviewing Justice League, and he was saying, after he watched the Snyder Cut, he rewatched Joss Whedon, and he was comparing shit. And when you look at not Snyder, Steppenwolf in the previous movie compared to Snyder Cut, it's like night and day, because it almost seems like he had an Oedipus complex in the first one, because he's just like, Mother, I love you, Mother. Let me speak to you, Mother. Mother, do you love me?
Now I got Glenn Danzig in my head. Mother, please kill the Justice League. But in this one, it's more of like you kind of sympathize with him because he's, obviously he's a banished son of Darkseid.
Yeah, because Darkseid's pretty much like, you're a fuck up, and that other guy, Sahid, was it Sahid or Hasid or what was it? Desad. He's like telling him pretty much like, you're a fuck up. Don't fuck up.
Yeah,
you're gonna fuck.
Well,
up.
First out, you gotta give this movie credit for putting Granny. What's her name? Granny. The fucking Jack Kirby fucking New Gods. The female old lady from the New Gods, standing to the right. Granny something. I forget her name. But it's like, they put her in. I'm like, yeah, she had no words, but I'm like, she's in there. It's like, they went there. Like, good for you. Like, shit. New Gods is stupid. Like, I love the comics, and Jack Kirby is considered the king, but there's a lot of stupid shit in New Gods comics. Legitly, Steppenwolf's named after the fucking group who made the song, Magic Carpet Ride. Steppenwolf is the name of the group. That's where he got the name for Steppenwolf. That's it. Steppenwolf. Hey, I heard it from that crazy rock band I don't like, because Jack Kirby hated stuff. He lived next door to Frank Zappa and bitched all day about how Darth Vader was Doctor Doom and they stole it from him. Please. So the New Gods are a unique storyline on their own. It's you have to really be invested to believe in the New Gods, okay? And to put any elements of the New Gods in this film franchise is really amazing. And it made me mad when Steppenwolf was in the other cut and there was no Darkseid even mentioned. Like, I mean, probably seen in the background or some shit. Who cares?
They mentioned him once, and I remember because we saw it. And then we watched it like later on. I remember when they mentioned Darkseid, I just kind of turned to my girlfriend. I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, what? Why the fuck would you just do that?"
Yeah. Hey, Darkseid. Remember that guy? Yeah.
For everybody, for Darkseid, and then cuts off. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's it. Because that was the thing. It just the character design's even better. Steppenwolf doesn't look like that in the comics, but I like the look, but I still have to admit, though, a lot of the dialogue, regardless of the Zack Snyder cut or if it's the Joss Whedon cut, a lot of the dialogue is very basic. When every time he talked to Desaad, it felt like the same Zoom call. It was like, I swear to God. So, what'd you get? I got a box. Great. You got 2 more to get. I will. Can I talk to Darkseid? No, he's busy. Okay.
Darkseid's
And
just like in the back, eating cereal.
he's like, I'm not here. I'm not fucking here. I don't want to talk to that asshole. Then he gets the second. I got the second box.
Iron hair.
Then it's like he gets the second box. He's like, hey, decide. Yeah. I got the second. You still have to get the last one. Yeah, but wait. I found something else. Oh yeah, where did you find it? I went somewhere and I touched the ground. I went, ooh, it's here. Oh, okay, great. When are you going to bring that element 2 hours into the fucking movie? Thank you.
Let me kind of play devil's advocate. So, Darkseid is obviously the big bad. He is the big bad. He's the the big guy. Steppenwolf is supposed to be this putz, pretty much. Like he's the badass to a T, but you don't want to give him too much because he's just a side guy. He's just the guy that's there for the other guy.
Yeah, I felt like we felt like we were watching Gideon Moff movie. We felt like we were watching Squidward movie instead of watching like Thanos. It's like that's what Steppenwolf is, right? But the idea is that Steppenwolf's a pretty cool villain and that he was very tough. I mean, the fight scenes are very good, but I just feel like the dialogue that went between the big bad guys was very basic. No matter how much, like, I will not fail you. And no matter how deep and slow I speak. They went to the Steven Seagal acting school where talk low and slow, and everything sounds more important. Literally, 15 minutes of these guys talking over the course of the movie could have been cut down to one conversation like, hey, I'm getting those boxes, but I found something else. And Darkseid's like, where? Move out of the way. Where? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right. Do what? Okay, I'm going to restart the route. I'll be right back. And then he comes back, he tells Steppenwolf, like, all right, do that thing and get that stuff for me. And then when you kill everybody, I'm going to be a wimp and show up. If that was like a Marvel movie, Thanos be like, I'll be right there. Don't F this up. I'm coming to take over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, kill them for me, you idiot, who has failed over. It kind of felt like the dialogue was just there just to have the bad guys realize that they're talking to each other. That's what it felt like watching.
Yeah, I mean, the bad guy dialogue was, because Steppenwolf is just, again, Steppenwolf is just there until Darkseid shows up, and with Darkseid later on, pretty much just letting everyone know, I'm still coming for you fuckers. But
dude, he had the portal open, right? And then you just see Superman and Cyborg, Flash, and whatever, and he had an army of guys. He had Desaad, he had Granny Good Apple, whatever the hell her name is, and he closes the portal like, screw it, we won't go. It's like, you literally probably could have killed them all right there.
Well,
they barely handled...
Well, didn't the mother boxes, close the portal?
He closed the portal. The mother boxes were separated and fell to the ground. And then Steppenwolf went to jump through the portal, right? And they chopped off his head. His head went through the portal. And when Darkseid did a thing, and it closed. That's what I took it as. It wasn't the mother boxes.
Well, because I thought the mother boxes were the reason the portal was opening. And then when they,
that was the mother boxes were supposed to be for the terraforming. That's what that was supposed to be for. Remember, when the Amazons and the Atlanteans and the humans and the firearm guy and the one Green Lantern dude were all battling in the past, the whole armada was there, right? Then the boxes went apart and they left. It wasn't like the boxes made them just disappear. So the boxes are terraformed they're supposed to turn the earth, scorch the earth to what it needs to be like a new apocalypse. So I don't think, at least that's how I took it, that the mother boxes separating was going to close the portal. Because then the minute the boxes, remember, Superman ripped the boxes apart with Cyborg, and Steppenwolf was still alive. So that portal closing, when Thanos says we'll find another way, we'll do it the old way. I didn't see that with the box closing it up.
Well, also because, maybe Darkseid, again, he's like, we'll do it the old way. Maybe he's, waiting to bring everybody and not just him.
Yeah, it's called make a second movie. That's never going to happen. Yeah, it's what it was.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But with Darkseid, he got his ass beat. The first time he came because everybody, teamed together. So now
the whole world.
Okay, I gotta be smart about this. So, as far as okay, can we at least agree that Cyborg was the MVP of the movie?
Yeah, Cyborg was phenomenal. It was great to see him actually have screen time. The kid was great. It was just kind of weird because I guess for so many years, Cyborg wasn't always so serious in the comics, and then of course the Teen Titans TV show, cartoon show, and of course Teen Titans Go. He's not a serious looking Cyborg, So my brain for the last 20 years seen Cyborg being more fun and teenagery about him. This son of a bitch was like, yeah, dude, I'm like RoboCop. I have like no body parts. I have baby food being fed to me where I have no stomach. I don't know why he's feeding me. I have a torso, a head, and a bit of a shoulder. And I'm reborn. I'm not in a good mood. So I get why he has to be, super broody and serious because he's pissed. He does a great job. He's great. It looks great. Once again, there's some elements that still don't make a lot of fucking sense, especially when it comes to the mother box. I'm going to bury it in my grave. I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop it. You couldn't find it in the guy's house. How stupid was Steppenwolf, like you said, the scent chasing? Your scent's strong. Your scent's weak. Dude, he's not a cat rubbing up against the box. It just... Find the fucking box. And he dug a hole 3 feet in the ground to put the box in. And then later he just shows up with the box anyway. What was the point of burying it in the grave? There was so disjointed of the storytelling of the things that help drive the story across. The MacGuffin, the mother boxes, really felt like we don't have the cosmic cube, but we have the mother boxes. This is going to be our cosmic cube. We don't have the infinity rings. We have the mother boxes. So they're the MacGuffins, And that's what it felt like. You could have just told the story that Darkseid wanted to take over as many planets, just like if Galactus with Silver Surfer, right? He sent Steppenwolf to take over Earth, and then these guys have to stop him. If they would have just done that, and then they found the antimatter, or the anti-whatever fuck shit was, and they found that on Earth, and made it more important, it would give a reason for it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't need the mother boxes. The mother boxes only exist to create Cyborg in this film. That's it.
Hello?
Like, at all.
You cut out for a second.
I cut off?
Yeah, for like maybe 5 seconds. But,
okay.
yeah, I don't know. We're obviously disagreeing, but yeah, I think the movie, the best thing...
It's better.
Yeah, it's better.
It's a better movie.
Is that they connect.
It's consistent.
It's
consistent.
Same thing with bringing Superman back to life. They didn't just do the whole, well, we gotta bring him back to life. We could use these mother boxes, but how? Because this.
Because
things. Because blah blah. I liked how they kept. My favorite part of the last movie, they actually kept it in here, was the when Superman comes back and they're all fighting him off, and there's that scene with the Flash where he's trying to run behind him, and then Superman does the Nosferatu thing where his eye turns.
Yeah.
And he turns around and sees him. I'm just like, I'm glad they kept that in.
Well, my thing is that there was another thing that's not. There's a lot of things that doesn't make sense with this. They brought him back like, all right, he's gonna be really grumpy when he wakes up. He's gonna just fuck up. He doesn't care. He only notices Lois. It's like, but why? Why did Superman go primal for no good reason with people he should have known? And he doesn't realize that he's... And then Wonder Woman's like, it's love. He loves her. That's why he... It's like, my God, fucking shit. They were in 2 movies together. They had 7 minutes of screen time between 2 other fucking movies. I think he was more in love with his mother than he was with Lois Lane. I mean, legitimately, they were fighting each other, and he's like, Mother! Why'd you say that? Mother! It's like, holy shit, dude, man, get a room. Fuck. I've seen that on XNXX, the, stepson and, alien stepson and mom, older hot MILF from the farm. But dude, like, he had his connection with Lois was enough for her to be brute. Fucking Lois Lane is Lois Lane. Like, why the fuck was she not investigating all this shit? Why was she not doing Lois Lane shit? She was being, I'm just a sad girlfriend. She's fucking Lois Lane. Lois Lane would not sit around.
Come on, dude. Like, all right, because to me, that's just a human thing to do. Is if you lose the one person in your life that means something to you, of course you're going to be depressed.
This is fucking Lois Lane. Even in the comics, when Doomsday killed Superman in the comics, Lois went on because she knew that's what he would want to do. That's what we all have to do. Lois is not a typical woman. This is Lois Lane. This is like, if you ever seen the historical evidence of Lois Lane in this fictional world, look at the flights to studios. Bitch, don't go jumping on the back of a robot that's flying through New York City. He's going to go to a lava cave and Superman's going to have to rescue him, but she needed to investigate why the fucking flying robots are doing shit and stealing, and she did it. Like, everything, you see, every time Lois got in trouble was because she was investigating and getting involved to figure things out. Like, that's her. She takes her sadness and figures out, because she's not going to accept defeat with this. Why did these things have to happen? She would have kept going, you know? This is how Lois does stuff. And then she just became literally, I'm so sad. Hey, look, did you see the pregnancy test in the drawer? Did you see that? Did you see when they CG'd the baby basket at the farm? That wasn't in the original. Like, great, yeah, so it's gonna be a super fucking baby. Thank you, we got it. Like, that's all she was there for, is to get knocked up. Like, no, it's Lois Lane, not Lana Lane from fucking Smallville. This is like a real important character.
I mean, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I'm probably. I don't know. Maybe it's because I just see things differently. But you know,
because you like the movie, I get it. But like, this is elements that didn't need to happen.
Maybe I need to watch it again and maybe look it over. But yeah, it's just Lois in some aspects was kind of a non-factor. But you know, just
dude. Yeah. All they needed her for was one scene. Hey, we're going to dig up Superman. Can you do me a favor? Just stand by, just in case he goes batshit crazy. Because he may not kill you. Like, and I know are we spoiling the movie much? Can I talk about the one scene with the certain, like, can we talk about that? Or should we not spoil it if no one's ever seen it? Like,
no. If anyone hasn't seen it by now, then, you know. Talk
Okay. Martian Manhunter at the end was the perfect time. Why did they fucking bring him into the house dressed up as fucking Martha?
That did not make any sense to me.
That scene could have been cut out.
Yeah, because I remember when I saw the trailer, when they showed like another trailer where they just show Martha and they show her like her glowing eyes. I'm like, but why would she be Martha Kent? Why? Okay, the character that's from, you know, Man of Steel, I forget his name, but why couldn't he just go on his own? Because he actually knew Lois Lane. He was actually
right.
Lois Lane.
He could have. Do you know how much more it would have been cooler if he would have showed up as Martian fucking Manhunter to say, look, there's some big stuff happening. Get Lois involved. He fucking hugged her as Martha, goes outside the house, goes, I was a boy. And it's like, oh my God, what the fuck did that add?
Christ.
That didn't add shit. Hey, I'm Martian Manhunter. I could change to any form I want. And then when later on, when Batman's in his like resort home or whatever the fuck, and there's a guy floating. I know originally that was supposed to be Green Lantern, and they couldn't get it, and they went with Martian Manhunter. But we knew when you were recutting this movie, you could just edit it out, the Martha, because that dialogue added nothing to the movie. Oh, other than she lost the house. Legitly, didn't need to be explained. We could have known that. She could have been on a phone call with Martha. That did not have to happen. Did not have this hug out and this weird, to find out that it wasn't even her. It's just a weird scene. And then it discredits the floating Martian Manhunter scene at the end. That's your secret ending. You need to save that for then. You don't need to add Martian Manhunter and then, hey, Batman, I'm Martian Manhunter. Some people call me that. That's because that's what people call me in the comics. I guess we'll see you sometime. Bye, buddy. And then that was it. Like, fuck. We didn't need him like changing into Martha to talk to Lois for no good reason, hug her, leaving her, whoop. And you remember me from the other movies? Yeah, I'm Martian Manhunter. It's like, it doesn't add nothing.
So,
and you could have saved 5 minutes. It could have been under 4 hours.
So let me ask something. So the character, from Man of Steel, do you think it was like a thing of like, John, his character's name is Johns, I believe. And
Joe John. Well, the Martian Manhunter's name is John Johns. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it was like a thing of like he took on that role to just and he sees Superman, he goes, "Let's see what the new guy can do." And if it was almost and right when Superman died, he's probably just like, "Fuck." like what do I have to do now because Batman can't do shit? And,
Well, it's embarrassing. If you had Martian Manhunter on Earth this whole time and he didn't help, what a lazy fuck. Like it kind of makes it worse.
That kind of makes him look like a dick, like a dick.
Yes,
almost. It's
but
like
I helped. I talked to Lois. It's like of all the people to talk to, you talk to Lois.
It's like Captain Marvel. It's like if I knew Nick Fury, I'm like, you knew this bitch was out there, and she was probably stronger than everybody on the team, and you conveniently waited till you got snapped away. It's like, what the fuck? Ugh.
Yeah, I mean that is always the gap of where the problem is with any of these movies. Like, where do we have the rights and what characters do we introduce? And I get that, but this movie had the option to not do that. Like, in hindsight, when they were first doing the Marvel Universe, they weren't going to establish Captain Marvel right away. We knew that. They had to make you believe the grounded reality characters. They needed you to believe Cap, Thor, Iron Man. They needed you to believe those characters. So bringing Captain Marvel in and with a beeper, you let it go because it's stupid. You'll be like, why didn't you do that before? But that's in hindsight, right? Here we have a movie that had all the opportunity to also go back and reshoot shit. Couldn't, 2 weeks with Martian Manhunter just showing up. At least give a reason why he couldn't fucking help. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't actually on Earth. I don't know. Maybe he showed up because of the sound of the idea of the mother box is awakening, that the greater good of the world, and he shows up then. Just give a reason why he's not there to help other than hugging Lois Lane. It really looks worse on him. And this is a movie that they got to go back and fix to make right.
So, Rob, how would you rate this movie?
I rate this movie as I'm never watching it again. Like, me and my wife, every time a chapter came up, we kept going, don't check the counter to see how long this movie is. This is going to be hard. And we made lots of jokes to get through the movie. Just because I don't want to hate on this, but I just feel like DC's characters are iconic.
Right.
Okay? Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman are the three backbones of superhero comics in general. Why do you treat it as if it's a second thought? Why did you say, hey, Marvel's doing a great job making all these movies. We need to rush it. No. You would have cared more about Batman versus Superman if Batman would have had a movie, Superman would have had a movie, Wonder Woman would have had a movie. Then they come together, do the Batman versus Superman. Then you come together, fight Doomsday, build up to this. But they said, no, we don't have time for that shit. Let's just do it now.
Well, because
then it's too much too fast, and they're not going to hit all cylinders.
Because with Marvel, it's always been a marathon, and it's still a marathon. With DC, It's always been a race because you just
it's a sprint. Yeah,
imagine how good the DC movies would be if they had just decided to go at their own pace instead of just saying we're gonna have Superman, now we're gonna have Batman, now we're gonna have Justice League, now we're gonna have Aquaman. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, take your time. Marvel took their time. Kevin Feige had a 10-year plan, and it paid off.
Yeah.
And now,
and sometimes some of the movies were slow burns or not as good. Not everything's going to be a hit, but the idea is that elements that you need to know to establish characters were in every single Marvel movie to get to that point. DC just said, fuck it. We made one Superman movie. Let's make a Batman Superman movie. Throw Wonder Woman in there. Fucking A. Mention Aquaman and some little things, and then we'll go right into it. It's like, dude,
hey, Rob, keep talking. I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Give me 1 second.
All right. At the end of the day, you're like, don't give me moments right now. Well, as much as I shit on wrestling for having the fans have no time, I think if you build enough characters that you can say, hey, let's tell that Superman story the right way. Let's do Lex Luthor Superman. That's where the story's at. Lex Luthor Superman, iconic. Let's do Batman and Joker because that's iconic. Yeah, I know it's been done a million times before, but not with Ben Affleck. And doing an older Ben Affleck They could have just done the Dark Knight Returns. Well, maybe not Dark Knight Returns 100%, but they could have done something in the vein of Dark Knight Returns and have an older Joker and the older Batman. Yeah, you don't need the cyberpunk stuff, but what you could have is just the Batman and Joker. Then lead into establishing Wonder Woman like they did in Dark Knight, bringing Superman at the end as a cameo. Then go into Batman not trusting Superman. Then you go into this developing Doomsday and then the world afterwards. They don't. You rush stuff. You don't get a good product. You get a last minute cash grab, and it's kind of wrong. These are characters that have been around and people love. You have Batman been around since 1939. Superman's been around since 1938. Wonder Woman's been around since 1940. Give them the proper time. And when they do it right, Wonder Woman's first movie, phenomenal. And then it was supposed to go up and up and up. And it just didn't. I don't know. It's just it becomes a thing when you're like, I really want DC to do better.
Yeah,
you need DC to do better. Yeah.
I do too. I mean, because it's just like I love all this shit. I love Batman. I mean, I love all these characters, and just imagine imagine where we'd be right now if DC had kept their own pace instead of just trying to keep up with Marvel. Because we'd be up here talking about Justice League was amazing. The next Batman movie is going to be amazing. Wonder Woman.
Or you would say, hey, when's Nightwing? Now we want to see Nightwing. We want to see these characters that we watched Batman have older Batman with Robin. I mean, they have elements they were trying to do where Robin was already dead. The only thing I liked about the Jared Leto thing is it alluded to. Okay, there's another thing. The epilogue. Is it a dream sequence? Is it not a dream sequence? At the end of it, is that going to be your future? Well, guess what? It doesn't matter because these films aren't going to get made. Yeah, it was cool to see Jared Leto come and be the Joker because I tell people all the time, and people get mad at me, there is no wrong Joker. The Joker is psy-fucking-cotic. Any way you want to play Joker as an actor, he's the only character you can play that there is no wrong version. Okay? The Joker can be psychotic. You want him to be a crazy pimp with gold teeth, psychotic that way? Sure. You want him to be a mustache-painted Cesar Romero? You can do that, You could do the Jack Nicholson. You could do the Mark Hamill. There might be variants of which one is your favorite, but there is no wrong Joker. As long as he's crazy, he's killing, he's scheming, he's doing his thing. The Joker is that evil that's why the character's called the Joker.
Oh, yeah, I mean, because, Jared Leto's not my favorite. I'm just going to, put it that way.
Yeah, it's no one's favorite.
Him appearing at the end, I thought was maybe a step up, from the Suicide Squad one. But just I don't know. He looked like if Marilyn Manson had sex with the nun from The Conjuring. And
well, I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's what Jared Leto looks like normally.
That'd be funny if he just walked on and said, "Hey, what's up, Zach? Jared, wait, come here. You're in the movie. Sit down now."
He just showed up like, "Hey, you guys making a movie?"
He's just eating like his vegan muffin or something. So what you losers up to? Hey,
right?
Get him into makeup now. And just his weird Joker laugh, which is a chuckle. It's just
Well, it's fine because, like I said, once again, this world this is supposed to be a worn down Joker. This is supposed to be not a new Joker. This is supposed to be a world where this character's already existed for a while. Right. That's what Batman is. These are guys that know each other.
Well,
and
even before that, even the Suicide Squad, he was doing the
Yeah, he was finding his own little thing. He was finding his own little way of doing it. Because you know what? If you do it too comical, then people go, "Oh, you're doing Cesar Romero." If you do it this way, it's too Jack Nicholson, Or if you're doing it this way, it's Mark Hamill.
But let me just kind of get it straight. Like, with each character, with each incarnation of a character in general, I get it. You're not supposed to be too much like everyone else because Heath was fucking lightning in a bottle. So nobody's going to touch that. Joaquin, crushed it. He was able to carry a whole movie as the Joker. Jack Nicholson was Jack Nicholson. Cesar Romero, Mark Hamill. So I get that you want to make a new version. Jared Leto, I think, is a great actor. He's just not right for that role. That's just my opinion. That's just how I see it.
I mean, I don't like, to me, I don't see it that way. But what I do see is that I hated the Nolan Batman movies more than anything in the world because other than Heath Ledger, the movies were just not well written. And I'm not going to kill you, but I'm not going to save you. It's like, it's fucking Batman. Bro.
Where is it?
Yeah, that's terrible. I remember the first time, like, people joked about it. I remember going to the movie and going, man, people were joking about his deep voice. They were sitting in the movie theater. I'm like, was he sick in this scene? Man, they should have redubbed that.
as a Batman fan, this might rub a lot of people the wrong way. I was not a fan of Christian Bale's Batman.
Christian Bale's a piece of shit actor. I don't like him as a human being. I mean, I still like him better than Vince, but I mean, I don't like him that much better. And I think he's had roles that are really good because they were unique movies. But you know, when you get dumped into Batman role, he did not want to be Batman. He took the role because he knew it'd get him good money and notoriety. But it just seems like he did not care. He showed up and it was just like, well, you didn't try. You see these actors now. Look at the new kid doing Batman. This fucking guy's doing all this shit. You just shared the thing with what's his name from Star Wars?
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac training for fucking Moon Knight. I'm like, there's your Batman. This guy's killing it. Like, he's trying. He cares about what he's getting invested in. And he's getting invested in fucking Moon Knight. Okay, I know Moon Knight. I've read the comics. Most motherfuckers have no clue who Moon Knight is. But you know what? He's taking it seriously. Like, you know, Christian Bale never did. Heath Ledger, he came and said, yeah, I have to live up to Jack Nicholson. I have to just go crazy. He went dark with it. He wrote horrible things. He wrote journals. He went too method with it. And it hurt him in the long run. When you do roles where you physically, mentally drain and hurt yourself, you depend on drugs to get out, and that's why you die. You know, and that's why he died. You know, I'm not saying the movie killed him, but his methodology to playing a part killed him. It's good. The same thing's going to eventually happen to Vincent D'Onofrio. The dude changes his physical form and body 8 ways from Sunday to play every role. Mentally, physically. You know, there's a time when you have to go, no, just, you're an actor, fake it. Like, it's cool.
Well, I mean, going back to Christian, it's like when you look at those Batman movies, it seemed like Batman was always the third most interesting part of the movie. You know,
you gave him third. I would have said none.
Okay, man, we're really arguing about everything, but because you look at the first one, Batman Begins. You know, Liam Neeson comes in and crushes it. Second movie, you know, Heath and Aaron Eckhart crush it, and then the third movie, Tom Hardy pretty much stole the show. And people could say whatever they want about Tom Hardy's Bane. I liked it. I thought if that big jack motherfucker is coming at you and you hear like, I'm going the other motherfucking way. Tom Hardy's a big motherfucker. I mean,
first off, Tom Hardy is a good actor. I just felt like the characters. I don't know what is Nolan's obsession with the weird voices. I don't fucking get it.
Well, he doesn't like CGI. He likes to go for more realism, I guess.
Yeah, but you don't have to do like the Batman. It's like, shut the fuck up, or take the mask off and speak. Because holy fuck, it's annoying. It's, you know. And honestly, the third movie should have been a Two-Face movie. It should have ended the second movie, Heath Ledger's Joker breaking into the asylum with Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent turns to the Joker in the nurse's office and goes, "Call me Two-Face." End credits. Do not do Two-Face in the same fucking movie. The movie is the Joker's. The Joker and everything, all this chaos that was caused, turned, you know, Harvey Dent into a villain, blaming Batman at the end. That's the way it should have been. No him doing shit. Because now you have two bad guys when you didn't need two bad guys. You make the franchise better by establishing your next baddie at the end. And then you bring him into the third movie. And then you make Two-Face the third movie. And it would have been great because, hey, Heath Ledger died. And all we have to say is that he's in Arkham and Batman put him away off camera. So we don't have to establish that he's dead. And then you deal with the character that was established from that second movie. Not a new character. And then maybe at the end of the third movie, you would establish Bane. You know, it just seemed like they went too far. They always seem to go too much with DC characters. Batman came out, you had the Joker. Batman 2, here's Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Here's Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, which is, I think, is the name of the original Nosferatu character.
No.
And the Penguin. The fuck did you need all that for? You know, like
It's
now you have
also Tim
3
Burton,
different
so-
characters.
Well, it's Tim
Yeah,
Burton.
but you see what I'm saying? They constantly do that. So in Batman 2, they did that. Batman 3, they had the Riddler and Two-Face. Then you had Poison Ivy and fucking Bane and fucking and Mr. Freeze. Then you come back like, okay, we had the Scarecrow was really not the villain.
Nice to meet you.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Just chill, you know. But like the first Batman movie really wasn't the Scarecrow. Like he was in it, but like you said, it was really about establishing Ra's al Ghul. That's the backstory stuff. But having the villain be a little bit of the villain with the Scarecrow, that's okay. You know, it's not really two villains. It's like an established guy you trusted being the villain and turning on you. But at the same time, you have that Batman villain. But when you get to the second movie, you kind of rinse and repeat cycle, but then you rush the bad guys again at the end. Like, just take your time. Warner Brothers never takes the time. Let's be real. Warner Brothers told the DC comic division in New York City, all right, we don't want to pay rent in New York. We own you. Either you move to California on your own dime or you're fired. And they fired everybody and brought DC Comics back to Warner. They don't care about the comic character. They don't care about they only care about the IP's names. And honestly, I don't think they care about it that much either. You can see it. Because they would never made that Green Lantern movie
Ugh.
if they cared.
I mean, they didn't
You
care.
know?
Even Ryan Reynolds didn't care.
No, because he never wanted to play that character. Like he just did it for the money. But you see, that's what I'm saying. Like DC, Warner Brothers does not care, and that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, let's segue into Marvel. Marvel takes their time with these characters. You know, it's like we just established. You know, Marvel. You know, Kevin Feige had a 10-year plan. You know, he took his time. He made us care about a talking tree and a talking raccoon.
While you said that you can't tell Wonder Woman because you don't know how you're gonna make the fans believe a woman with a sword, Marvel's like, I got a tree and a talking raccoon.
And also, it was a thing of like they didn't own everything because they still didn't own X-Men and Fantastic Four, and you know they still don't own Spider-Man. But yeah, they made us care. You know, they made us care about Ant-Man. You know, the first time there was an Ant-Man movie that came out, I'm like, really? This movie? And they made us care. They made us care about Ant-Man.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So, Falcon and Winter Soldier came out on Friday. I'm gonna let you explain it first because I want to hear your opinion. What'd you think of the first episode?
I absolutely loved the first episode. First out, here's my problem. Just like you're a Batman fan, I'm a Cap fan. So every Captain America character I care more about across the board. Like, just without a doubt. And I think, you know, Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have killed it playing these characters. They've established who they are and they made it their own. And the first episode really dealt with a different side of the blip. Well, everyone is shocked and awe. What you saw in WandaVision was the shock and awe of the return. Like, the horrendous side of it, you know, the sadness of it. Right. Whereas in Spider-Man, the blip was more like kind of comical. Like, the kids are in the middle of the basketball. They came back, and it was funny, you know. And you had established, you know, people who had got remarried. You know, there was stuff. The idea that the Flag Smashers, first off, Flag Smasher was his own character, kind of a corny character, but it makes sense to use that character to establish a group that's almost like a Guy Fawkes kind of a group that like don't like why the blip was undone. They were happier without it. You know, the idea of half the people being gone, you know, now everyone's back. Now there's double the amount of people with no one thinks about the ramifications of the world when everything's gone and then everything just shows back up. It doesn't go back to normal. And this is what the show is establishing. And you see it in little elements, just how like, Falcon's sister and how she was trying to survive all these years with nobody around. People gone, people died, people this. And so it's like really cool elements, and just the idea, how is a guy like Winter Soldier supposed to be normal? Like, there's so many elements in the show in the first episode, and you're like, shit, they haven't teamed up yet.
Yeah, and I like that, and I'm like,
yeah,
I enjoy that. I enjoy the shit out of the first episode because, it. Again, there's gonna be people that are complaining. It's like, why isn't everything out at the same time? Blah blah blah. It's like, dude, just chill the fuck out. Come on, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, give it a second. My God,
I liked how it was almost like watching a mini movie because it made sense to release the first 2 episodes of WandaVision because WandaVision was treated like a sitcom. Whereas this, it's almost like it's watching a mini movie, and I like the element of, there's people that actually thought the blip was a good thing, that it actually helped. It's kind of like, it's kind of like real life with, Trump. I don't mean to get too political, but it's like people that wanted Trump to still be president as opposed to Biden being president. There's that element, and it's Captain America. Captain America always, they add little subtle political nods in the story because it's Captain America. I like that element of like, even though the blip is gone, even though the heroes are, they save the day, they're still on their own. They still they still now have to do things on their own instead of just having Cap there the whole time to kind of, pretty much hold their hand.
They have to grow up and find their own way.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Far From Home, the Spider-Man in this Marvel universe had to find his own way, after Tony Stark left, and WandaVision, Wanda, had to survive on her own, but, she was depressed. She was dealing with grief. She lost her parents, her brother, and the love of her life. Even though she almost, fucked up, Thanos, it was still a thing of like, I have nothing. I have nobody. Same thing with this. Falcon, he's kind of still working for the government. He's been pardoned, but he has to deal with real life. He has to deal with his sister being able to, or possibly giving up the family business. Bucky is dealing with PTSD. He's still having nightmares, from being the Winter Soldier, which I thought was interesting.
I'm glad they didn't shy away from that. And like, you see what his ledger, like Black Widow would say, is filled with lots of red.
Right. So I'm digging where the show's going. I like the divisiveness of how the show ended because, they brought in John Walker, and if anyone doesn't know who that is, U.S. agent, and he's the new Captain America. I like how they didn't just, they kind of did and they didn't, because I thought it was going to be a thing of, Sam was already Captain America and the government just said, nope, we're taking this away.
This is what's really cool. It's kind of based on the comics. When Cap was told by the government, hey, we need you to do these jobs, and Cap's like, yeah, I don't work for you. I'm not doing that. And they're like, no. We created you. We created that shield and that outfit. Cap's like, well, fuck you. Here's the shield and the outfit. I'm out. He leaves. They give it to John Walker, and I forget the other guy's name who became Bucky, but he became Battlestar. And so it was this new Bucky and a new Cap who was being called Captain America, and he was super violent, super doing what the government told him. Violent person. Cap's like, fuck, get the fuck out of here. And the Cap came back, beat his ass. Give me back my costume, you're an asshole. And then here he got my shitty costume, and then he became U.S. agent. So by doing that without having Cap, it's a unique way of combining the Winter Soldier, the Captain America Falcon story, and the old U.S. agent run into one series, and they already established a lot there.
Yeah, and they were very sneaky on how they took the shield, because I think they were waiting for him to give it up first instead of just saying, we're going to take it from you.
Yeah, they scumbagged them. Absolutely.
The government being scumbags. They took it away because they knew he was going to fight for it. So I like the divisiveness because that creates good tension for the show. Because that creates people going, oh, fuck this. I want to see this guy get his ass beat. Kind of like in wrestling. You bring in a new scumbag heel that does a scumbag thing, and you want to see you want to see the white meat babyface beat his ass.
Well, at the end of the story, I feel like they're also going to be developing the Thunderbolts. Because you got Baron Zemo. And you could retweak the group a little. And I feel like maybe instead of it being the original group being like Baron Zemo and like, Screaming Mimi and like what Peace Pot Pete or whatever the fuck it was, it could be US Agent. It could be characters like that they develop here as a Thunderbolt Ross group, the Thunderbolts, new hero using villains. And they can go that way if they want to.
Supposedly that they'll be introduced in Black Widow. Supposedly that's the rumor.
Well, yeah, because you still have Red Guardian, you have the other Black Widow character, so you can actually make this group like their version, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of the Thunderbolts. It doesn't have to be the comic version, but just, not good people doing heroic stuff, and at the end that's not a good thing.
I'm really hoping that Black Widow comes out when it's supposed to, because I've been waiting for that movie to come out for a while. I mean, everyone else has, but it's just like, I'm glad the Disney Plus shows are coming out, but it's just like nothing beats that feeling of being in a movie theater and watching these movies and just getting.
Oh yeah, I will not be going to movies for a long time, so I don't give a fuck. Just put it on Disney Plus already. Like, I just want to see the damn thing.
I wouldn't be opposed of them putting it on Disney Plus, but the point I'm making is just like, I just want the movie to come out on time. I'm just, I don't know. I'm getting tired of these movies being pushed back. I mean, that's my
just make them.
That's my stuff. Yeah, I will make a Black Widow movie, Rob. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Just release it. Just give it to us. You already have it sitting there doing nothing. And you know what? No disrespect. This is not this is not a Phase 4 movie. This is still like a Phase 2.5 movie. Just give it to us. Like, just let it happen already. I don't know what's in it.
I just don't get it, because it's just like they released a bunch of other Disney property, on Disney Plus, but with the Marvel movies, they're being it almost seems like they're being kind of selfish, because they're like, now we want to wait till theaters are, good to go to, but it's just like, dude, just put it on Disney Plus. But like,
look, actually, it's the Black Widow. Just put it out.
well, I mean, it's it's a movie that people have been waiting to see for a while, dude.
No, I get why they want to have a movie version, because like, all right, Wonder Woman did really good. Wonder Woman had the movies. This, if they don't have the movies, it won't be able to live up to the hype compared to Wonder Woman. But then again, you can't compare Wonder Woman to Black Widow. Captain Marvel was supposed to be that, but it wasn't. Yeah. And just release it already. Just because whatever the story is, it's going to be almost forgotten if they don't take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, the point is we just want the movie to come out and just.
Yeah.
Do what HBO's doing. Release them simultaneously. Release in theaters and release on Disney Plus.
That's all.
And if you want to charge like $20 to watch it premium, what the fuck ever. People are still going to watch it. Anyways, let's close it out with Fastlane predictions.
Is there any matches announced besides like 3?
Seven. Actually.
Oh, we have 7 now. Okay, when we did the podcast a couple days ago, there was like 5 matches.
That's actually why I moved it to Saturday, because I'm just like, there's really not a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm already off this weekend, so we can just save the show for Saturday, because we have like a shit ton to talk about, which we did tonight. But yeah, Fastlane is this Sunday, or tomorrow. It's going to be the first pay-per-view on the Peacock app, if you guys don't already have the Peacock. So at the moment, not at the moment, but there's already 7 matches announced. I'll just announce the first one on the card, which is Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler with the women's tag team champions versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair.
The titles aren't. This is Fastlane. I would be shocked if any titles change hands. So Nia and Shayna are returning. This is where it's going to set up Bianca versus Sasha. That's all we do is establishing the WrestleMania match between Sasha and Bianca.
I'm not a fan of how the match has been booked, and I'll explain why. Because when you look at the characters of Sasha and Bianca, they're kind of the same character when you look at it, because they're both kind of these bitchy, tough as nails characters. You got Sasha coming in being like, I'm a boss, I'm a badass, and then Bianca coming in being like, I'm a badass, I'm the EST. It's just like, okay, but what's different about you guys? I'm a boss. I'm the EST. So it's just like,
yeah, okay.
if you're gonna book this match, you can book it either one of two ways. One of these girls, Sasha needs to be a heel, or book them as just these two girls that want to beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to do some kind of... And this match is going to establish the rivalry to build up the feud coming into the next couple weeks for their match. And it's going to be... Bianca will cause... I think Sasha will eat the pin because of Bianca's interference. Mistaken interference. And, you know how in wrestling... Oh my god, look over there. Oh, I can't lift my shoulders off the ground. I got pinned for some reason. So, that's going to happen.
So basically, we both agree that Nia and Shane are going to walk out.
Yeah. No titles to change hands. No titles to change hands.
Probably one, and we'll get to it. But next match is going to be a singles match for the United States Championship. Riddle, the champion, versus Mustafa Ali.
No. Riddle. Mustafa Ali is not winning this. It's going to be him. Retribution is going to interfere, cause the match, and he's going to feud against Retribution.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm kind of done with Retribution. Like wait,
were you ever into Retribution?
Well, I mean, it's just I don't get why they're still a thing. Because for one thing, weren't they supposed to be like this Antifa terrorist group that was attacking the company? And now, and then they got jobs on Raw.
Yeah, it sucks. It's stupid.
It's like, yeah, we forgive you for trying to ruin our show, so in return, we're going to hire you.
Yeah, that's a thing in wrestling. You can do that.
Jesus Christ.
They've hired back murderers and necrophiliacs and the whole work. So,
hey, the CEO, the CEO of or one of the CEOs of the company, fucked Kane's ex-girlfriend. So his dead.
Well, I technically think it was a dummy in a casket in a funeral parlor. So I mean, church.
You get what I mean.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, he still banged the dummy, so it's okay. It still counts.
Oh Jesus. But yeah, Riddle. I mean, yeah, Riddle's pretty much going to win this. Next match. This was announced on SmackDown last night. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Seth Rollins in a singles match.
Well, I like I said on my show, Vince, I believe, hates all Asians, so he pretends to like them. So Seth is... If Shinsuke wins, I'll be happy, because I love Shinsuke, but I think the two of them are going to put on a great match. Probably the match of the night, if they're allowed to go. But since it's Seth, I think they can. I want to say Shinsuke should win, but I feel like it's Seth. They're not going to let Seth lose. Not against Shinsuke.
I agree, because I think this is going to set up Cesaro and Seth at Mania.
Yeah.
And again, I like Nakamura. I'm glad they gave him back his entrance.
Did you turn off the oven?
It looked like for a hot minute that they were going to give Nakamura something.
No, because it wasn't supposed to be for him. It wasn't supposed to be for him, because somebody else had gotten sick or COVID or injured, and they couldn't do what they wanted to do, and so they pushed it back and they gave it to Shinsuke because he's there, so that's the only way he'd get anything. But anyway,
next match. We both want Nakamura to win, but we're pretty sure Seth is going to win. So
absolutely.
Let's see, which match should I choose next? An intergender match: Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss.
This is no match. There's no match.
Yeah, this is more than likely going to be a way to bring back the Fiend as a new character.
Yeah, that's all this is about, to see what his new cosplay is.
But, I mean, because, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt from, 4 years ago went so well.
Oh, God. You just made me throw up a little bit inside.
A lot of this match is going to be Alexa more than likely parading around the ring and looking cute and then becoming evil Alexa.
What if they both metamorphosize? What if, she turns and Randy turns with the black eyes? And they do a whole cinematic thing with it?
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, because that might be the best way to do this, is to have it be cinematic, because if it's just in a straight up ring in front of quote unquote people,
quote unquote people.
computer script, it would just look weird.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being a cinematic match.
It needs to be. I think it's the only way. What if it turns out it's never Randy in the first place? It actually was Seth. I mean, it was Bray Wyatt.
That'd be funny. I mean, that's too creative for WWE, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm giving them too much credit. Who am I?
Yeah, you're giving them way too much credit, Rob. You need to stop that.
Yeah. Did I not mention Vince is racist? Okay, go on.
So, we have two more matches. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus in a no-holds-barred match.
Sheamus isn't winning matches now. He's just fighting to prove that he is a great wrestler. That's all he's doing right now. That's all we're getting from this. This is not matches. This is Sheamus going to look good, but going to lose.
Yeah, because I would assume that, because I knew that they were going to have this match beforehand, but then they announced Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley at Mania for the title, so now I'm just like, yeah, this match just doesn't really have a meaning to it.
No, it doesn't. There's no meaning to it. It's not supposed to. It's just a match that was booked just to have a filler.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you. Sheamus has been putting on good work, especially with Drew. I mean, granted, Drew's his best friend, so you're gonna have great matches with your best friend. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how this match goes. It'll probably be a good match. When you have two hosses out there beating the shit out of each other, you can't go wrong.
Yes, you can. Especially if the name is Braun Strowman.
Yeah, but Braun Strowman's not a hoss. Braun Strowman is just a big bitch.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that.
But Drew McIntyre, he's walking out of this. So. Next match, which I think could be the match of the night. You got Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship.
See, this is a match that, I wanted to see for a long time because I think Apollo has been so close to being not just a great wrestler, but a great character. It took him a long time to get there. But this kind of sucks for Big E because I do believe Apollo is keeping it. 100% Apollo is keeping the title. But it sucks for Big E because where does Big E go from here?
It's weird because I like both guys. I like Big E, because when we were talking about the New Day, it almost like everybody was saying, Big E needs to be the guy to get a push, and it just seems like it's kind of not being it's not being handled right, and it just seems like it's almost like an afterthought.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
And I don't know if that's, Big E or if it's creative. It probably is creative, but...
It's always creative.
We agree that it's creative. But, again, I love Big E, but it's just like, he either needs to win to continue, I guess, finding his character, or not. Because if Apollo beats him, what does Big E do?
That's the problem. Big E has nothing if he loses.
Right.
He has no leg to stand on. And that's the problem.
So what's your opinion on the Apollo Crews character? On the new character he's doing?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I know a lot of people kind of think it's corny. I like it because it's unique. It's something new because, again, love Apollo. The fact that he's getting television time is good.
Yeah.
The first time I saw the character, I'm thinking, okay, he was U1 Nation in the Indies. I knew that. As far as you know, did he ever do that with his character?
No. I don't think so.
But, it makes sense because he's saying I lived in America for this time. I tried to be American, tried to be like everybody else, but I realized I got to be who I really am. So I lost my accent just so I could be American, but I'm going to talk in my native tongue. It's a relatable character because I do know people that are like that had an accent when they moved to America and they lost.
My wife's cousin. my wife's cousin, her husband, he's from Antigua, St. Croix, and like every so often he was talking to us because they stopped by. We gave his kids a whole bunch of toys, and he's talking to us, and I'm like, and his accent came out. Like you don't hear it too often because he tries to kind of suppress it, but he it just came out like, oh look, there's Sean's voice. It's like, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I'm digging the Apollo character. I don't know. I have a feeling that he might win, but I think this should be a Mania match. This should not be a Fastlane match. But then again, Fastlane shouldn't be a pay-per-view event either. So, but anyways, let's move on to the main event, which more than likely will be the main event. You got Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, versus Daniel Bryan, with Edge as the special guest enforcer.
Yes.
Are you alright?
So
are you alright over there, man?
So all right. So just a little side thing. All day I had a million things to do. What happened was, I'm sorry you heard that. I apologize. We had decided that we need to clean the living room because the TV. We got the new Fire. We got a Fire TV Cube. Right. I was like, just don't plug it in. We got to reorganize. You know when your wires are just in the back, you keep adding new shit, and you don't take care of the old wires. And then you look, you have this like rat's nest of, what is this wire? So before we got on the show, we were organizing all the wires. We unplugged everything. We cleaned it. And so the whole time we were talking, my TV was in the middle of the living room, like where it shouldn't be. So I'm like, all right, my wife fell asleep on the couch, and I'm like, we're talking, and like, all right, maybe as we're talking, I just moved the TV back. So what you were hearing is probably me going, oh my God, and me pushing like my TV rack, and I'm trying to clean up because it's like now it's 8:47 here in New York, and it's getting late. We're gonna do an air bed, and we're gonna have like a camp out for my daughter. We got a light thing that makes stars appear on the ceiling, so we're gonna make it fun because we can't go nowhere, right? So I'm trying to set it up so we could do that. So I was like, think I was going to be sneaky and quiet, but no, I'm just making a terrible mess, and I apologize. Very unprofessional. But yes, let's talk about this match, and I'm going to tell you right now. I said this on our show before. Roman's retaining because Edge is both out, and he will not allow Daniel Bryan to win. He's going to make Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan's going to come in this match, and he's going to end up losing a bit, get the Superman punch, but come back, and almost get it. And Edge, being that guy who, he's better when he's a heel, spears the shit out of Daniel Bryan, but then looks at Roman Reigns, either lets Roman Reigns pins him and then spears Roman Reigns to hold the title himself over them both, or something to that effect. And the reason why, just in case Edge can't go, they can make it a three-way dance at WrestleMania.
It almost seems like that's how they're going to go for a hot minute, because it's weird because I have kind of conflicted feelings about it, because I love Daniel Bryan, I love Edge. Obviously I love what they're doing with Roman. So it's just like, are they adding Daniel in because they don't feel the match is gonna work out the way it does, or are they?
You don't have to worry about that.
So I don't know. I think that'll be a good match either way.
Edge came to play. Edge wants to work hard, but unfortunately, he had spinal stenosis. He has. He's so does Sheamus. He's got an injury where it's like, he's 47, 48. He almost was paralyzed, and he comes back and he had a couple of great matches, but he also still got injured, relatively easy, in a spot that didn't need to happen. So I think they are treating him more fragile than they should. But having that backup, hey, look, Daniel Bryan deserves that spot regardless, and can go if you need him to keep Edge at a level,
So do you think that's maybe why, is because they're seeing Edge as like, well, he hasn't had a match in 8 years, or he hasn't wrestled, or let me rephrase that. He was retired for 8 years, and then he came back, and then he got hurt again, and he just came back. So, well,
this is what it's the same thing, because Christian said it himself, because I'm sick and tired of people seeing me as fragile. I'm not fragile. I have to prove myself, right? And Edge might have the same feeling, especially only after Edge got hurt. And he was sidelined until when, right? He got sidelined for many, many, many months. And, that's unnecessary. And he had 3 matches before he was injured?
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. So, but he's a draw. He wants to go.
He is a draw,
so.
But okay, let me make a comparison. This might be an unfair comparison, but so the thought process was that we were going to get The Rock and Roman, and The Rock and Roman would have been able to stand on its own because it's Roman and it's Roman. With Edge and Roman, you look at it as like, okay, Roman's the top guy, Edge kind of was a top guy, but he wasn't really too much of a draw. Edge was the guy that would work with the other guy that made the most money, and he would have a good match with him.
That's true.
And also, it's kind of how you look at it. It's like Roman he's the big dog. He's the head of the table. He should murder Edge out there. They should not be having a competitive match.
But the problem is that if Edge had these matches with Randy and Randy put him over at the end, he's supposed to be ready for Roman because Randy is one of those guys. Like, he's always good to go, blah, 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 blah. In theory, I don't feel that way. I feel like Randy has stagnated for years, but he still can go when he wants to. And gave Edge, for what they were the matches that needed to remind people that Edge, hey, they gave Edge hour matches, you know what I'm saying? Like, you come back and you haven't wrestled in 8 years and you're not wrestling like, look, if Goldberg can't do 3 minutes, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have spinal stenosis. And Edge is doing hour matches where he was nearly paralyzed. So, there's a reason for whatever. I think the safety is bringing Daniel Bryan in just to protect Edge, just in case they need it. If he gets injured or if something happens during the match, Daniel Bryan knows how to book a match. Daniel Bryan knows how to quickly, on the fly, call an audible and tell a match. He's great. Daniel Bryan is the fucking American Dragon for the reason. Daniel Bryan is the guy. They call him the GOAT for a reason, not because of his beard, because he's that fucking good. He knows how to do what he's doing in that ring. Oh yeah, and that wasn't trained by WWE. That was That was William Regal. It was Daniel Bryan spending many years working matches with people who couldn't fucking lace up boots and still want to make sure the fans left happy. Daniel Bryan has been doing this for a long time, and he knows how to tell it in the ring.
Exactly. And just a little, like a history lesson. You got to start here in San Antonio.
See?
He went to Shawn Michaels wrestling school. Or how CM Punk puts it, Shawn Michaels took $600 from him, and William Regal was the one that really trained him.
Yep. It's true. But, you see those guys, it's like, they're so fucking good. And Daniel Bryan loves wrestling. Maybe a little bit too much. And
maybe not
he will not.
But yeah, he loves it. He definitely does love it.
I mean, he'll make sure that he's not going to allow Edge to look bad. I can't guarantee Roman Reigns knows how to do that because Roman really came from the developmental. He came from WWE's in-house. And I say that's the problem, is that he don't know how to do what they haven't taught him. And that's why we got a guy like Edge. You need someone like Daniel Bryan just to be there. And I think that's what's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, okay. But
here's the best way to describe Roman to close it out. Roman knows how to get himself over as a star, but as far as facilitating or dictating a match, better. He's not the leader of the dance. He's better when he has someone there to take his hand.
Yeah. There's certain guys that cannot lead the dance, but they know how to follow. And that's what Roman is. He's a good partner in the dance. He's not the leader of the dance.
Right. Daniel Bryan's the quarterback. Roman is, I guess, what would you call him? Tight end, linebacker.
I'd call him the fucking water boy and go sit the fuck down. But no, no, he's definitely a good, he's a good tight end because, he'll get those moments. He knows how to get the moments. You know what I'm saying? Edge can be a tight end, but could also be a running back and a quarterback because he can get the moments, he can lead the team, and he can also work dirty hard where he needs to because he's learned that. And that's why do you think they added guys like Kevin Owens to the Samoa Joe? They added Samoa Joe to that. What was it? The match with Brock and that time they added it was Brock and
Brock, Braun, and
whoever. Yes, and they added Samoa. They had Samoa Joe because that's what he does too. You know, he was that backup because they knew he would help sell that match better. His job was never to win. His job was to make people look good. Because Brock wasn't going to sell and Braun couldn't wrestle. So poor Samoa Joe is carrying a match with people who don't want to dance with you. And also, good analogies. But yeah, at the end of the day, Edge is going to spear. Daniel Bryan is getting speared. No matter fucking what by Edge. And Roman's going to retain. Edge is going to be a dick. And the next several weeks, it's going to be Daniel Bryan and Edge. And Roman's going to be pissed that he's getting sidelined for his Mania match by these two. And then he's going to get so angry that they're going to dupe him into making it a three-way dance. Or they might have a qualifying match before WrestleMania. Who gets to be, if Daniel Bryan wins, he gets to be in the match or some shit like that, you know.
Or, you know, that can be a way to kind of, I guess, pop a rating is, you know, Daniel Bryan said, you know, is telling Edge, you know, with all due respect, it didn't take me that long to come back.
It didn't take me 8 years.
It didn't take me 8 years while I was out here busting my ass, possibly re-injuring myself. And, you know, you can have a qualifying match with those two, and you can just have Roman come out and just fuck up the match. Why?
And then why not?
Why? Because he can. Because he's the head of the fucking table.
Yeah, and that's what you get from it. And then they can lead it right up until WrestleMania. And there you go.
And there's your main event of WrestleMania, folks.
Yep.
But anyways, go ahead and plug your stuff, dude.
All right, alternativeminds.com. That's MINDZ.com. Everything's there. Our YouTube channel, our Twitter, Instagram. It helps you to subscribe to the YouTube channel because that helps get me any kind of money, which is none, because YouTube sucks for that. But that's how it works. We do have a Patreon. No one subscribes to our Patreon, so whatever. I don't care about that. It's tough times. I'm not asking people to beg for money when you all ain't working. So I don't care about the Patreon because, let's be serious. You gotta feed your family first. Don't give me $1 to hear me do shit I'm doing for free. What a way to plug my Patreon, right? With the website, we have so much.
Support the Patreon, but I don't really give a fuck. Or don't.
No, because I would never, ever. I did it to do it to have it because YouTube doesn't pay. But at the same time, people ain't got it. I'm gonna force you, but it's there. Like, so if you want to throw the nickel in the jar, it's there. You know,
it's just funny. Support it or not. I'm not gonna beg you.
I would never do that. Never. But at the same time, because Julian does some great content for us, so if you know Julian very well, you'll see his articles on our site. Especially, he's a big Walking Dead person, so he was invited before the pandemic to go to Georgia, wherever they filmed Walking Dead, and he got to see the making of a couple episodes. He got to interview people, so he got so much content from that. He just did a whole bunch of interviews, so it's all on our website. I do lots of YouTube videos, so you'll see that stuff on our website, and that's about it.
All right, man. Yeah, you heard him. Make sure you go to Alternative Minds with a Z.
Yep, with a Z.
Go to their Patreon or don't. I mean, don't go to their Patreon. But yeah, Rob, I appreciate you for taking time out of a busy Saturday. The way it's.
Oh my God, this last couple days sucked. Yo, yesterday my poor wife was sick. Then my radiator just exploded water everywhere.
Jesus.
And then there was a gas leak in my building all on the same day. I was like, so I didn't go to work because my wife wasn't feeling good. So I banged out. Wake up. I said, I'm going to make breakfast since I'm home. And I looked and my wife's like, there's water in our bedroom. I look, our radiator is like, bleh. So I take care of that. Then I'm smelling gas that we had to leave my building, air it out. No one ever told me I think it was the apartment downstairs. They had the burner not off like a bunch of assholes. So that then came back and then all that crap. And then we decided to do all this shit today. It has been crazy. And it's not even Sunday yet. So it's been really ridiculous. Yeah, but it's great to talk to you, man. Like I'm great when I hang out with people who can have fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the point of the show. It's just to have fun. I I love having people on. I love having new people on. I've been trying to get you on for the longest time. It's just like I've been waiting for the right moment. So I'm glad I got you on because I haven't been on Wrestling Court in a hot minute. I think the last time I was on was like in June, July, roughly around that time.
Of last year or the year before?
Last year, because I know I was on there. We reviewed a pay-per-view. I think it was Extreme Rules. So yeah, I've been.
It couldn't have happened last year. Was that last year? Really?
Dude, it was last year. I promise you.
Well, because yesterday didn't happen. So when I think of last year, I'm thinking 2019. So that's why
I was there in the year that didn't happen. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I'm glad Julian did that then, because Julian always books the people for the show because I don't suggest. I'm like, you book it. Like, so like we had Kevin Castle just a couple days ago, and like whatever. I've been on like Keita and Jay's show and Chris Durham's his show, and because I just like hanging out with people who like to talk. You can invite me anytime you want to talk about anything. Look, I probably have an opinion about every fucking thing. Let's just go for it. I don't give a shit. Like, you want to talk about, let's do it. Like, it's cool.
Absolutely. And again, I love arguing. I love being able to not agree with everything, because when we agree on everything, it gets kind of boring. Like,
oh, that's terrible.
I like that. I like that conflict of like, well, I didn't like this. Well, this didn't work for me. But yeah, it's again, it was fun having you on. I need to get you back on pretty soon.
I'm home and I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan to make any plans this year. I plan to be home every night as a human being and stay home with my wife and daughter, and I can do this. That's my thing. Like, hey, I'm like, we talk about arguing. I'm like everyone who's in podcasting fucking hates AEW but me. So it's like great for me because like, all right.
Oh, we know how much you love AEW.
I fucking do. But it makes me mad when I hear these older cats that hate AEW. I'm like, you guys say you love ECW. They're fucking so similar. See, everyone wants to do a WCW comparison. I'm like, you guys don't get it because you weren't there for that shit. But the older cats that know ECW have no right to shit on what AEW is doing because ECW did all the same stuff. And we loved it then. So why do you hate it now? Like, it bothers me that they hate it when they like try to draw comparisons of why they don't like it. And I would just go and say, well, Spike Dudley did this guy did this guy did this. We had Swinger did this, we had matches like this. And you're gonna be like, but like, stop. Like, just say you don't like it because it's not your thing because you don't like progression or skinny, tiny wrestlers. Just be honest. Tell me you don't like vanilla midgets. I get it. But you know what? I know they're not doing steroids and they're not doing drugs. So, hey, there you go. Like, at least I know these wrestlers won't die tomorrow. I'm just saying. Like, all the guys I grew up with are fucking dead. But if you ask Undertaker, those were the real men, right?
They were.
Yeah. Real men. They were. Past tense to real men, because they all dead.
Oh, get it? Because I put him in the grave because I'm the Undertaker.
And the worst part is Undertaker's my favorite guy. That's so fucking sad. I just wish he stopped talking.
But,
we all wanted him to talk, and then now we want him to shut up.
We can, we can get into a schmoz about AEW, but
we have to do it sometime.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah, we need to plan accordingly to that. But yeah, Rob, again, appreciate your coming back on. Can't wait to get back on Wrestling Court if I'm ever invited. But
I'm gonna yell at Julian. Like I told Julian, I get Drew Yari. Screw all these other guys. I don't care about you know. Like, I don't care. Like, whoever wants to come on, like, come on. Like I gotta tell Julian. I'm like, I yell at him sometimes too. Like, yo, you gotta get Keita back on. You gotta get JD. You gotta get Drew. You gotta get Chris. Yeah. And then I leave it to Julian to do it. And like, hey, Jewel, did you get him? Oh no, I forgot. I'm like, all right, listen, just we're all friends on fucking Facebook, bro. Like, it takes 2 seconds to send a message.
It's always fun being on somebody else's show because it takes that weight off of being the host and having to facilitate everything. So, hey, and if I get back on, that'd be cool. If I don't, then I guess Julian.
No,
I'm playing.
I'm going to tell you tomorrow because Julian doesn't make threads for the AEW pay-per-views. He only does it for WWF pay-per-views. So tomorrow, when you're on the thread for the WWF pay-per-view, which I'm not going to watch, call him out on it. Or I'll call him out on it. It's like,
I'm not good at calling people out, so I'll just let you handle that.
I'm going to say, at Drew Yari, remember that shit you said on your podcast yesterday? Ask at Julian now. It's
going to be like Rob Exnay on the podcast A.
Hey.
But,
All right. Well, Drew says he wants to be on our show. What the fuck you doing there? I'm gonna text him now.
I just like what you said. Let's get Drew. All right, fuck everybody else.
Yeah, my thing is like, all right, it's like, I like the people that I do interact with on a daily.
Right.
Like, I'd rather have those people's opinions. Like, I do talk to you almost every day on Facebook or Twitter or wherever the hell we're talking. And I do that with Julian. I do that with Chris. I do that with Keita and JD. Everybody else that comes on our show, like, all right, yeah, I get it. Like, I know who they are, and I'm very aware that they're really cool with us. I have no disrespect for anybody. But I feel like we're not on Facebook, like, talking all the time. We're not on Twitter talking to each other all the time. You only talk to us when you come on our show. So for me, it's more like you're a guest, not a person. But I ain't gonna treat you differently. That's not happening. That's not who I am. But at the same time, I'm like, I'd rather have the people that I know. Like, hey, I knew what you did yesterday. I knew what you were hanging out. You had a bad day at work. Shit, you said a funny meme, whatever. We're communicating better. I like to have those people on because I feel we'd have more chemistry.
Right. I mean, I'm glad you considered me a friend. I consider you a pretty good friend.
I never said we were friends. I just said we're okay.
Oh, come on. Well, on that note, Rob had to leave. Everybody, he got into an unfortunate car accident. It's sad.
Dude, no one drives in New York. It's like
Rob had to go. It's like was it Wolfie the talking dog? He had to go back to his
home world. Yeah, it's like. All right, so let me let you go.
all right. Take care, brother. Talk to you in a bit.
Later. Bye.
Later.
In that case, man.
What?
I gotta leave the thingy. I gotta leave.
Anyways, all right. So yeah, it was fun getting Rob on. It's always fun. It's always fun talking to Rob. We'll love to get him back on. I forgot to mention. So tomorrow, and Rob, I muted your mic, so I was just gonna do the shout outs. So yeah, tomorrow I will be doing a post show for Fastlane, and I will be having RJ back on the show. RJ from, well, I mean, you already know where RJ's from, so I don't need to explain that. But RJ will be on the show with me. We'll be doing a post show for Fastlane, pretty much after the show is done, and hopefully the show ends early. Which lately the pay-per-views have been ending a lot earlier, so you have that to look forward to. But yeah, shout out to everybody: Wrestling Soup, Kevin Castle, Trez, Wrestling Court, Rob and Julian. Let's see, Breaking the Apocalypse. You got Draper, and why am I blanking on the names? I just listened to the show yesterday. Draper, B. Show, Brian, and Shaheen. Jesus Christ, am I really that tired? And then you got the Hammerlock Hangover, Jeff, and Steve. False Count Radio, Texas Podcast Massacre. JD, not JD from New York, JD from Russell Bread, and of course RJ, Brother Monty, and just pretty much everybody. Shout out to everybody as a podcast. Again, I'll see you all tomorrow for Fastlane with RJ, but I will edit this show quickly, which shouldn't take that long. I'll upload it pretty much by the end of tonight. But anyways, guys, take care, peace, and have a great night.